Our research paper is titled Secure Communication in the Internet of Drones. Our teammates are Scott Lacazio, Jasdeep Sekon, Alfredo de la Cruz, Visva Suther, and Youngi Park. We are part of San Jose State University Department of Computer Engineering. We have 4 motivations for our paper. The first being the increased use of IoT technology, and as a consequence, there's a rise in concern for IoT security due to data transfer being a essential part of IoT. And another reason is for the advanced exploitation methods that are continuously getting more and more advanced and sophisticated. Third is the need for lightweight encryption methods for IoT devices, which are often resource constrained. And fourth is, which our paper hopes to solve, is to determine the feasibility of efficient encryption and key management on IoT devices. To understand our paper, it is essential to have a basic understanding of ICCE, shared key generation, and AES. ICCE is a cryptography technique that utilizes elliptic curves to generate public and private keys. Its parameters, such as the size of keys, the choice of curve, all impact the performance of ICCE. Shared key generation, also known as symmetric encryption, involves generating a secret key that is common between two parties via the exchange of public keys. Here, the private and public keys are used to generate a common shared secret, which is the same between the two parties. AES is a symmetric encryption algorithm that uses the shared secret key to encrypt and decrypt fixed sizes of data. In our case, it's 256 bits. For related works, one paper discusses the implementation of ICCE on 32-bit microcontrollers without the use of hardware multiplier, and their specific use case is wireless sensor networks. Another paper discusses using machine learning. In their case, they use a random forest classifier model and a software-defined network to mitigate attacks during data transmission by analyzing data traffic. A third paper, which discusses the Internet of Drones, creates their own key generation protocol named RAMP IOD, which incorporates ICCE to ensure the integrity of data for drones. For our approach for a drone, we use ICCE to generate secret keys. We use ICCE because it has shorter key lengths compared to other cryptographic methods, and it's robust, which is suitable for resource-constrained devices. For key management services, on a microcontroller, we use a cryptographic library that supports ICCE operations such as shared key generation, encryption, and decryption. In our approach, the drone generates secret keys based on ICCE and transfers the keys to the cloud layer via a message protocol called MQTT, which is used for data transfer to the web server. We use 3 different curves for ICCE and compare them to compare their performance. The generated key is used for symmetric encryption for the drone data using AES algorithm. Our system architecture consists of 3 layers. The first layer being the cloud layer, where there's a web UI which is interfaced to the server and which that is interfaced to the database. The second layer is the communication layer, which uses MQTT and hosts the key management services to generate ICCE key generation and the device manager. And the final layer is the infrastructure layer. The infrastructure layer consists of the drone, which has a Wi-Fi module interfaced over UART. Here the key encryption and decryption occur on the microcontroller. As well, there's a control system to control the drone via IMU sensor, which is interfaced over I2C, and 4 motors, which are interfaced via PWM. The web application is deployed on AWS, and the architecture consists of the UI being built using React, the web server being built using Node.js, where it handles encrypted and decrypted data exchange from both the React application and the drone component, the database using MongoDB, a NoSQL database suited for storing unstructured data, such as real-time sensor data, the AWS IoT core, which is used as the MQTT broker, which is the intermediary exchange encrypted message system for the server and the drone. The Node.js server publishes its public key to the MQTT topic, The drone then subscribes to this topic when it's online and uses the server public key to generate a shared secret key. The microcontroller unit also publishes its own secret key. The data is decrypted when the shared secret key using the crypto library in Node.js. This end-to-end encryption adds an additional layer of security on top of TLS of AWS IoT Core, ensuring the data transfer and communication are effective and more secure at the source, which is a drone. The drone itself consists of a STM32G4 microcontroller, which interfaces to a wireless communication peripheral using UART, IMU sensor using I2C, and 4 motors, BLDC motors, which are connected to 4 ESCs and which are interfaced to the microcontroller using PWM. The secure key exchange consists of the microcontroller and the server, with the MQTT broker as an intermediary. In this system, there is a public key exchange using the MQTT broker, from which, using this private key and the public key, a shared secret is generated, which is common between both the microcontroller and the server. This shared secret is then used to encrypt or decrypt the data on either side, the microcontroller. For our implementation, we use a Cortex-M optimized crypto stack library, also called CMOX. This cryptographic library is for the STM32 Cortex-M microcontroller, and it has APIs for encryption and decryption. For key generation, the shared secret key generation on the microcontroller involves the use of 2 functions. The first function is the CMOX ECDH function, which takes the elliptic curve parameter, which can be one of 3 listed. All these 3 curves can be either low RAM or high RAM, and they all impact the performance of ECC. The second is the CMOX ECDSA keygen function. This generates the private and public key, provided a random number and an elliptic curve parameter. The random number is generated, in our case, by the STM32 HAL library for random number generation. The private key generated here is used by the CMOX ECDH function, and with the server's public key to generate the shared secret key. We also have the functions showcased on the right, where the ECDH function generates the shared secret using the private key and the public key, where part of its parameter takes in low memory or high memory, the private key, public key, and the computed size. The 3 cards for ECC all have different sizes for key values for private key and public key, where we can see different bit sizes, and for shared secret key as well. For the encryption of the drone data, we use a 256-bit AES encryption algorithm. As this parameter, it takes in the shared key generated by ECC, the telemetry drone data as plain text format, and the initialization vector. It outputs an encrypted ciphertext. The drone, which you can see assembled in the picture, uses a STM32G4 microcontroller, which is a Cortex-M4 processor, and interfaces to an IMU sensor, which has an accelerometer and magnetometer through I2C, and 4 motors. For data transmission to the web server, wireless communication is handled by interfacing a Wi-Fi modem using AT command protocol over UART to send encrypted telemetry payloads over the web server using the MQTT protocol. And the MQTT broker is hosted on the AWS IoT Core. Below we show the function for AES, where it takes in various parameters and it outputs a cipher. For evaluation, we have 4 methods. The first being time analysis for encryption and decryption. Here we measure the time period between receiving a packet from the Wi-Fi module and completing the decryption process using the STM32 timer. The second is message size. Different message sizes ranging from this range are used to analyze the impact on encryption and decryption times. The third is the performance analysis of ECC key generation, shared key generation, and encryption. Here we compared 3 different curves for ECC and assessed RAM usage and performance. For the fourth one, we have network performance analysis, where we measure the time taken to publish MQTT message from the microcontroller to the MQTT broker hosted on AWS IoT Core. Here are the results. For measuring time, we use the HAL library for timer. Below in the graph, we can see key generation performance, where it shows high memory and low memory usage for the 3 different ECC curves. In the table, we can see the time and performance for each of the key generations for the different curves, and as well as the public key sizes. So we can compare the size of the key versus the performance. And we can see that the Brainpool TP12 standard curve has significantly lower key generation performance given its greater public and private key size. And the NIST K256 and the NIST P256 perform better and have a lower key size. Further, we show the shared key generation performance. We show the different ECC curves and the shared key secret size, and then the performance. The lower the shared secret key size we see, the better the performance for the shared secret key generation. Similar to key generation, the Brainpool TP12 standard curve underperformed due to its key size, which is larger than the others, and the difference between high and low memory is negligible. For the AES cipher blocking chain algorithm, we use a 256-bit shared secret key to encrypt data. And we see that generally the small implementation of AES performs the fast implementation, which allows for less computing power. However, key size is the biggest determinant in performance for AES, where we can see the higher the key size, the lower the performance for AES. For network performance for MQTT publishing, as the message size increases, the performance decreases exponentially. For this, so here we can see the size of the message, the size of the keys, the implementation of AES are the biggest determinants of performance. In conclusion, our paper shows the feasibility of implementing secure communication techniques in small IoT systems, which in our case is a drone. We show that designers of small, low-cost IoT devices can implement modern, powerful security solutions using affordable and modern RISC processors. We show the combination of TLS encryption and end-to-end encryption on both the microcontroller and server side provide an effective strategy to enhance data security. For future work, we hope to improve key management services to support larger groups of drones. Here are references, and thank you for listening to this presentation.